You probably already know something about Julius Caesar, the general who crossed the Rubicon to become a dictator, had a relationship with Cleopatra, killed off his enemies to take over Rome, and was brutally backstabbed by his own friends in the Senate. But what you might not know is in that around 75 BC, Julius Caesar was captured by pirates. Not the "Arr, matey" type of wooden leg, eye patches, and parrots squawking insults type of pirate. No, the real kind. The kind that still exists today. Modern pirates kidnap people for ransoms, smuggle weapons and drugs, hijack ships, actual dangerous criminals. And 2,000 years ago, the Mediterranean was crawling with them. Rome hadn't really bothered to stop them because, honestly, the pirates supplied slaves that wealthy Romans needed for their massive latifundia farms. So piracy was basically allowed as long as the senators got what they wanted. I know, shocking. Wealthy politicians looking the other way. But one day, these pirates made a colossal mistake. They kidnapped a 25-year-old Julius Caesar. Yes, that Caesar. Let's dig in. The Roman historian Plutarch wrote this story in his Life of Julius Caesar. I'll read it to you. On the way to the island of Rhodes to study philosophy and oratory, public speaking, Caesar was kidnapped by Cilician pirates in the Mediterranean Sea. When they demanded a ransom of 20 talents, he laughed at them, saying they did not know whom they had captured. Instead, he ordered them to ask for 50. Okay, pause for a second. First of all, a talent is a giant unit of money and weight, usually in silver or gold or some other precious metal. In today's terms, 20 talents could easily be worth several $1,000,000. So these pirates weren't exactly asking for pocket change. They saw how Caesar was dressed, they listened to how he spoke, and they knew this guy was worth a lot of money. But Caesar looked at them like, 20 talents? Are you stupid or something? Don't you know who I am? You should ask for 50 talents. Okay, sure, 50 it is. The level of arrogance is incredible, but, it's very Caesar. Back to Plutarch. They accepted, and Caesar sent his followers to various cities to collect the ransom money. In all, he was held for 38 days, and he used the time to write poems and speeches which he read aloud to the pirates. If they failed to admire his work, he would call them illiterate savages to their faces, and would often laughingly threaten to have them all crucified. Okay, hold up again. Crucifixion was the most horrific, horrible punishment the Romans ever devised to kill people. Slow, public, torturous. So Caesar to joke about crucifying so casually? He was built different. Back to Plutarch. These pirates were about the most bloodthirsty people in the world at the time, but Caesar treated them so high-handedly that whenever he wanted to sleep, he would send to them and tell them to stop talking. The pirates grew fond of Caesar and attributed his freedom of speech to a kind of simplicity in his character or boyish playfulness. However, the ransom arrived from Miletus, and as soon as Caesar paid the pirates and been set free, he immediately manned some ships and set sail from the harbor of Miletus against the pirates. He found them still there, lying at anchor off the island, and he captured nearly all of them. He took their property as spoils of war and put the men themselves into the prison at Pergamum. He went to Pergamum, took the pirates out of prison, and crucified the lot of them, just as he had often told them he would do when he was on the island and they imagined that he was joking. However, since they had treated him so well, he had their throats cut before they were crucified to lessen their suffering. So compassionate. Caesar really cares. He has a heart. Yikes. Caesar was that kind of guy. Amazing story, right? So you can see how the ambition, ego, the ice-cold calm, the ruthlessness, it eventually would make Caesar unstoppable. This is Have to Know History. History you just have to know. Thanks for being here.